The blue lights on Zara's skin flickered with anger as she stood in the great hall. Hundreds of Zephyrian nobles watched her from their stone seats. Their eyes glowed in the darkness like stars. The air smelled of burning metal and fear. Before her sat the council of elders on their high platform. Their old faces showed no kindness. Between them stood Krell, the fat merchant who wanted to own her. His thick fingers held a golden contract that would make her his wife. Zarathil, daughter of mining master Vex Tar, the eldest council member, spoke with a voice like grinding stone. Do you accept this marriage bond with High Merchant Krell Vex? Zara looked at her father sitting in the front row. His blue skin had turned pale with worry. She knew he loved her. But the old ways were stronger than love. The old ways said daughters must obey. The old ways said women were property to be traded. She had learned about other worlds from the human traders who came to buy their rare metals. She had heard stories of planets where people could choose their own lives, where women could be warriors or scientists or ship captains. Those stories lived in her heart like fire. I refuse, Zara said clearly. The hall exploded with shocked voices. Some nobles jumped from their seats. Others made angry clicking sounds with their tongues. Krell's face turned dark purple with rage. You refuse? Krell stepped forward. His heavy body shook with anger. This marriage will join two of the greatest mining families. Your father's asteroid fields and my shipping routes will control half the sector. I am not a mining ship to be bought and sold, Zara replied. I am a person with my own mind. The eldest council member hit his staff against the floor 3 times. The hall became quiet. Child, you do not understand what you are doing. This marriage will bring great wealth to both families. Your children will inherit vast riches. What if I do not want children with him? Zara asked. What if I want to explore the galaxy? What if I want to learn about other worlds? What if I want to learn about other worlds? Such thoughts are not for women, another elder said. Women bear children and manage households. Men build empires. Zara felt the old anger rising in her chest. Since childhood, she had been told what she could not do. She could not pilot ships. She could not study alien cultures. She could not travel to distant worlds. She could not choose her own husband. The humans say all people are equal, she said. The hall erupted again. This time the shouts were louder and angrier. The humans fill your head with poison, Krell spat. They have no respect for family honor. Maybe their way is better, Zara said. Her father stood up slowly. His old body trembled. Daughter, please. Think of our family's reputation. Think of our workers who need the trade routes this marriage will bring. Zara's heart broke to see her father's pain. But she could not give up her freedom for money. She could not spend her life with a man who saw her as property. I am sorry, father. I cannot do this. The eldest elder raised his staff. Zarathil, you have rejected a lawful marriage contract. You have brought shame to your family name. By the ancient laws, you are hereby cast out from Zephyrian society. Zara felt something hot being pressed against her wrist. Pain shot up her arm as they burned out her citizenship chip. The small device that gave her access to family money, identification, and protection was destroyed. You have 6 hours to leave Zephyrian space, the elder continued. If you return, you will be executed as an exile. Security guards moved toward her. Their armor clanked as they walked. Take her to the outcast terminal, the elder ordered. As they led her away, Zara heard her father calling her name. She did not look back. If she saw his tears, she might change her mind. The spaceport buzzed with activity. Ships came and went, carrying cargo to distant worlds. The outcast terminal sat in a dark corner, where exiles waited for passage to anywhere that would take them. A few other outcasts sat on metal benches. Some had committed crimes. Others had spoken against the government. All looked hopeless. Through the window, Zara saw a battered human ship called the Iron Resolve. Its hull was scratched and dented from years of hard travel. but it flew a small flag she recognized, the symbol of the Human Federation. She had heard stories about the human captain. Marcus Chen was his name. Once a soldier, now a trader who carried cargo between the worlds. Some said he had a good heart. Others said he was dangerous. A message board showed his ship would leave for Federation space in 4 hours. Maybe he would take her. Maybe she could start a new life among the humans. But as she walked toward the human docking bay, 3 large figures stepped out of the shadows. Corvan mercenaries. Their gray skin and red eyes marked them as hired killers. The one who refused marriage, their leader said in broken Zephyrian. Krell pays good money for you. Zara tried to run, but they were faster. Strong hands grabbed her arms. A cloth covered her mouth and nose. Strange chemicals made her thoughts fuzzy. As darkness took her, she saw the Iron Resolve preparing for departure. The human captain would leave, without knowing she needed help. The last thing she remembered was being dragged toward a small, dark ship that would take her far from any hope of rescue. Zara woke up to pain and darkness. Her head felt like someone had hit it with a metal bar. Cold air bit at her skin through tears in her clothes. The smell of rust and old machinery filled her nose. She tried to move, but her body felt heavy and wrong. Slowly, memories came back. The refusal, the exile, the mercenaries in the shadows. The Corvans had taken her far from home. Through the small window beside her, she could see nothing but black space and floating rocks. This was the Tartarus Belt, a graveyard where old mining ships came to die. "Good, you are awake," said a rough voice. A large Corvan stood over her. His gray skin was covered in scars. His red eyes glowed in the dim light. 2 other mercenaries worked at control panels behind him. "Krell sends a message," the Corvan continued. "He says you insulted him by refusing marriage. Honor demands payment in blood." Zara tried to speak, but her throat was too dry. The words came out as whispers. "Why not just kill me?" The Corvan smiled, showing sharp teeth. "Too easy. You must suffer first. Think about your choice. Regret your pride." They dragged her to an old mining platform floating among the asteroids. The place was mostly dead. Only emergency power kept some lights working. The Corvans checked the air recycler and the heating system. "You have oxygen for maybe 2 days," the leader told her. "Water for 3 days if you are careful. No food. No rescue beacon. No way to call for help." They locked her in the platform's emergency shelter. It was a small room with basic life support. A few emergency supplies sat on metal shelves. A tiny window looked out at the asteroid field. "Think about High Merchant Krell while you die," the Corvan said as they prepared to leave. "Think about the warm bed and good food you could have had as his wife." Their ship flew away, leaving her alone in the cold and dark. Zara sat on the floor and cried. Not from fear, but from anger. She had made her choice and would not regret it. But dying alone in space was not the adventure she had dreamed of. She checked the supplies. Some water bottles, a few food bars, a broken communicator that could not reach anyone, a heating unit that worked sometimes. The platform creaked and groaned as asteroids bumped against it. Each sound made her jump. If the structure broke apart, she would die quickly in the vacuum of space. Hours passed. Zara watched the rocks floating outside her window. Some were as big as buildings. Others were tiny pieces of dust. All were silent and cold. She thought about her father and wondered if he missed her. She thought about the human stories she had heard. On Earth, people said, women could be anything they wanted. Ship captains, scientists, soldiers. Maybe she would never see those worlds, but at least she had chosen her own path. Meanwhile, far away, the Iron Resolve moved through space toward the asteroid belt. Captain Marcus Chen sat in his command chair studying star charts. His ship was old but strong. His crew was small but loyal. "Captain," said his computer Eve. I am detecting a weak emergency signal from the Tartarus belt. Marcus looked up from his charts. He was a tall man, with brown skin and kind eyes. Scars on his hands showed he had been a soldier once. Now he carried cargo between worlds and helped people when he could. What kind of signal? He asked. Very faint. Probably from a destroyed beacon. The signal lasted only a few seconds before cutting out. Rodriguez, his first mate, shook her head. Captain, the Tartarus belt is dangerous. Floating rocks everywhere. Pirates sometimes hide there. We should stay on course. Marcus stared at the display showing the asteroid field. He had lost his sister to raiders years ago. They had killed her, while he was too far away to help. Since then, he always answered distress calls. Eve, what are the chances of finding survivors? He asked. Based on signal strength and time delay, approximately 3%. Rodriguez sighed. 3%, Captain. We could waste days searching and find nothing. Marcus thought about his sister. He thought about all the people he could not save during the war. Then, he made his decision. Set course for the signal location. We check every distress call. Captain. Dr. Tanaka spoke from her medical station. If someone is alive out there, they will not last long. The asteroid field is very cold. Then we better hurry, Marcus said. The Iron Resolve changed course and headed into the dangerous asteroid belt. Marcus knew his crew thought he was taking too big a risk, but he could not ignore even a small chance of saving someone. As they flew deeper into the field of floating rocks, sensors searched for any sign of life. Most of the readings were just metal and stone. Dead mining equipment. Broken ships. The dreams of people who had come here looking for riches. Captain, Eve announced, I am detecting a weak power signature. 1 kilometer ahead. Through the view screen, they could see an old mining platform. It looked barely functional. Only a few lights worked. But the computers said someone was inside. Life signs? Marcus asked. 1. Very weak. Possibly unconscious. 121. Marcus stood up. Rodriguez, take us in carefully. Tanaka, prepare the medical bay. We might have someone who needs help. As the Iron Resolve docked with the ancient platform, Marcus put on his spacesuit and prepared to board. He had no idea who was inside. It might be a trap. It might be nothing. But his conscience would not let him leave without checking. Marcus moved carefully through the old mining platform. His boots made echoing sounds on the metal floors. Emergency lights cast strange shadows on the walls. The air felt thin and cold. Hello? He called out. Is anyone here? No answer came back. Only the creaking sounds of old metal and the hum of dying machines. He found her in the emergency shelter at the center of the platform. A young Zephyrian woman lay curled on the floor. Her blue skin had turned pale and gray. The bright patterns that should have glowed on her face were barely visible. Marcus knelt beside her and checked for breathing. She was alive, but barely. Her body shook from cold even though she was unconscious. Frost covered her lips and fingertips. Found her, he spoke into his radio. Zephyrian female, severe hypothermia. Prepare the medical bay now. Without thinking, Marcus took off his thermal jacket and wrapped it around her. He activated the heating packs from his emergency kit and placed them against her body. Her skin was so cold, it felt like touching ice. Gently, he lifted her into his arms. She weighed almost nothing. Her head fell back, and he could see old bruises on her neck. Someone had hurt her before leaving her here to die. Eve, I need a full medical scan, he said, as he carried her through the platform's airlock. And contact the Zephyrian medical database. I need to know how to treat her species. OPs. Scanning now, Captain, Eve replied. Warning. Her core temperature is dangerously low. Brain damage is possible if warming is not controlled carefully. Marcus hurried through his ship's corridors to the medical bay. Dr. Tanaka was already preparing equipment. The small Japanese woman worked quickly and calmly. "Put her here," Tanaka said, pointing to the main medical bed. "I have been reading about Zephyrian biology. Their body temperature runs higher than humans. She is very close to death. She is very close to death. They work together to warm her slowly. Too fast, and they could cause more damage. Too slow, and she might not survive." Tanaka connected tubes and wires, while Marcus held heating pads against the woman's arms and legs. "Her name is Zarathil," Eve announced after scanning the woman's damaged citizenship chip. "Age 26. Daughter of mining. Master Vextar. Status shows recent exile." Marcus frowned. "Exile?" "Records are incomplete. But it appears she refused an arranged marriage." "They exiled her for that?" Rodriguez asked from the doorway. "Zephyrian culture is very strict about family honor," Tanaka explained, while checking the woman's vital signs. "Women have few rights. For 18 hours, they fought to save her life." Marcus stayed by her bedside when he was not needed on the bridge. He watched the faint patterns on her skin slowly grow brighter as her body warmed. During the long night, he thought about his sister Sarah. She had died fighting for her freedom too. Pirates had attacked her research station because she would not pay their bribes. Marcus had been too far away to help then. But maybe he could help this woman now. When Zara finally woke up, her large eyes looked around the medical bay with confusion and fear. She tried to sit up, but Tanaka gently pushed her back down. "Easy," the doctor said. "You are safe now. You are on a human ship." Zara's mouth moved, but no sound came out. Her throat was still damaged from the cold and dehydration. Tanaka brought water with a straw. "Small sips," the doctor instructed. Marcus sat in a chair beside the bed. "Can you understand me?" he asked. Zara nodded slowly. Her voice was barely a whisper. "We found your emergency signal," Marcus said. "You were on an old mining platform." Tears started flowing down Zara's blue cheeks. "The Corvins. They left me there to die." "Why?" Marcus asked gently. Zara's story came out in small pieces over the next few hours. The forced marriage, her refusal, the exile, and kidnapping. Marcus felt anger growing in his chest as he listened. "This Krell hired mercenaries to kill you?" Rodriguez asked. "Not kill. Torture first. He wanted me to suffer for refusing him." Marcus clenched his hands into fists. He had seen enough evil during the war to know this kind of cruelty. Men who hurt women because they could not control them. "You are safe now," he told Zara. "No one will hurt you while you are on my ship." Zara looked at him with wonder. "Why did you save me? I am nothing to your people." You needed help," Marcus said simply. But even as he spoke, alarms started sounding throughout the ship. Eve's voice came over the speakers. "Captain, I am detecting multiple ships approaching. Corvan raiders and other mercenary vessels. They appear to be hunting for something." Marcus stood up quickly. "How many?" 15 ships so far. More arriving every few minutes." Rodriguez cursed in Spanish. "Word is out about the girl. Someone put a bounty on her head." Through the medical bay window, they could see lights in the distance. Ships moving through the asteroid field like hungry wolves following a scent. "They tracked us here," Marcus said grimly. Zara tried to get up from the medical bed. "You must leave me. Take me back to the platform. If they find me with you, they will kill your whole crew." "Like hell," Marcus said firmly. "You are under my protection now." "But you do not understand," Zara pleaded. "Krell has great wealth. The bounty on my head will be enormous. Every pirate and mercenary in 3 sectors will come for me." Marcus looked at his crew. Tanaka nodded seriously. Rodriguez cracked her knuckles. They had all chosen to serve with him because they believed in doing what was right. "Then we better get running," Marcus said. Eve, plot a course for Federation space. Maximum speed. Course plotted, Captain. But we are surrounded. Not yet, we are not. Rodriguez, get to the weapons. Tanaka, strap our passenger down. This is going to be a rough ride. As the Iron Resolve prepared to fight its way out of the asteroid field, Marcus looked down at Zara. Fear and gratitude mixed in her large eyes. Why are you doing this? She whispered. Marcus thought about his sister again. About all the people he had failed to save. About the oath he had taken, as a soldier, to protect the innocent. Because it is right, he said. The first attack came from behind a large asteroid. 3 Corvan ships appeared suddenly, firing bright energy beams at the Iron Resolve. Marcus gripped his command chair as the ship shook under enemy fire. Shields at 80%, Rodriguez reported from the weapons station. Her fingers danced over the controls, returning fire with the ship's small cannons. Eve, find us a way out of this rock field, Marcus ordered. Working, Captain. Multiple ships are moving to surround us. I count 23 vessels now. In the medical bay, Zara held onto the bed as the ship bucked and rolled. Dr. Tanaka had strapped her down with safety belts, but she could still feel every impact. This is my fault, Zara said, tears in her eyes. Your crew will die because of me. My crew knew the risks when they signed on, Tanaka replied, checking her medical equipment. Marcus does not abandon people who need help. Another blast hit their shields. The lights flickered, and emergency sirens wailed. Shields at 60%, Rodriguez called out. Marcus studied the tactical display. More ships kept arriving, drawn by the bounty on Zara's head. Pirates, mercenaries, and criminals from across the sector, all wanting the huge reward Krell had offered. There, Eve announced, I found a gap between 2 large asteroids, but it leads through the Crimson Nebula. Marcus grimaced. The Crimson Nebula was a dangerous area where space dust interfered with sensors and navigation. Ships that entered often got lost forever. It is our only chance, he decided. Take us in. The Iron Resolve dove between 2 massive asteroids as enemy fire exploded around them. Several pursuing ships crashed into the rocks trying to follow, but many more made it through. Inside the red fog of the nebula, everything became strange and difficult. The ship's sensors could barely see a few hundred meters ahead. Navigation systems gave confused readings. But Marcus had an idea. Bring Zara to the bridge, he ordered. Minutes later, Dr. Tanaka helped the weak Zephyrian woman to the navigation station. Zara's blue skin looked strange in the red light of the nebula. Can you help us? Marcus asked. Do you know these space routes? Zara studied the confused displays. This nebula connects to the old mining tunnels, she said slowly. My father's ships use secret paths to avoid pirates. Can you guide us? I think so. But it is very dangerous. One wrong turn, and we will be lost forever. Better than being captured, Marcus said. With Zara's help, they navigated deeper into the nebula. She remembered routes her father had shown her as a child. Hidden passages between gas clouds, where only guild ships were supposed to go. Behind them, their enemies followed like angry hornets. Some got lost in the red mist. Others collided with each other. But the most skilled hunters stayed on their trail. 5 ships still following, Rodriguez reported. Big ones. Professional mercenaries. They flew through the nebula for hours. Zara guided them past dangerous gas pockets that could melt a ship's hull. Around gravity wells that could crush them flat. Through electromagnetic storms that made their equipment spark and smoke. During a brief moment of calm, Marcus sat beside Zara at the navigation station. She looked exhausted, but determined. Tell me about your world, he said. What was your life like before this started? I studied alien cultures in secret, she admitted. I learned about Earth and the Federation worlds. Women, There can be ship captains, scientists, soldiers. I dreamed of seeing those places. What did your father think of your dreams? He loved me. But he was trapped by the old ways. He thought marriage to Krell would give me wealth and status. He could not understand that I wanted freedom more than riches. End quote. Round the fray. He loved me. Marcus nodded. I had a sister who fought for her freedom too. Pirates killed her for refusing to pay their bribes. I am sorry, Zara said softly. She would have liked you, Marcus replied. Their conversation was interrupted by new alarms. Contact ahead, Eve announced. Large fleet blocking our exit from the nebula. Through the red mist, they could see dozens of ships waiting for them. Krell had hired an army of killers. We are trapped, Rodriguez said grimly. But Zara was studying her navigation display. Wait. There is another way. An old mining shaft that connects to the main trade route. But it is very narrow and unstable. How narrow? Marcus asked. Our ship might fit. Maybe. If we are very lucky. And if we are not lucky? The shaft will collapse and crush us. Marcus looked around his bridge. His crew watched him with trust and determination. These people had followed him through many dangers. They believed in him. Eve, plot a course for this mining shaft, he ordered. Captain, the probability of survival is less than 20%. Better odds than fighting that fleet, Marcus said. Take us in. The Iron Resolve dove toward what looked like solid rock. At the last second, a hidden opening appeared. The ship squeezed through the narrow tunnel with only meters to spare on each side. The pursuing mercenaries tried to follow, but most were too big. Their ships scraped against the tunnel walls, causing dangerous cave-ins. Only 2 smaller vessels made it through. Almost there, Zara said, watching her instruments. The tunnel opens near the Federation border. Suddenly, the tunnel shook violently. Cracks appeared in the rocky walls. Structural collapse, Eve warned. The tunnel is breaking apart. Full speed, Marcus ordered. They raced through the crumbling tunnel as rocks rained down around them. One of the pursuing ships was crushed by falling debris. The other kept coming, firing desperately. Just as the tunnel completely collapsed behind them, the Iron Resolve burst out into open space. Ahead lay the bright lights of a Federation patrol fleet. This is Captain Chen of the Iron Resolve. Marcus, broadcast on emergency frequencies. Requesting immediate assistance. We have a political refugee aboard. 1. The lead Federation ship responded quickly. This is Admiral Morrison of the EDF Titan. We see hostile ships pursuing you. Moving to intercept. The last mercenary ship, seeing the Federation fleet, turned and fled back into the nebula. For the first time in days, the Iron Resolve was safe. 3 weeks later, Zara stood in the observation deck of Starbase Columbus, watching ships come and go through the massive docking bays. The Federation's largest space station hummed with activity. Traders, diplomats, and travelers from dozens of worlds moved through the wide corridors. She wore simple human clothes now instead of her torn Zephyrian robes. Her blue skin had regained its healthy glow, and the light patterns danced brightly across her face. But her eyes still held sadness. The committee will announce their decision tomorrow, Marcus said, joining her at the window. He carried 2 cups of coffee, offering her one. Zara accepted the hot drink gratefully. She had learned to enjoy human customs during her stay aboard the Iron Resolve. What if they deny my asylum request? 1. They will not, Marcus said confidently. Your testimony about Zephyrian slavery and the evidence you provided about Krell's crimes convinced them. During the asylum hearings, Zara had revealed terrible secrets about the mining guilds. How they used slave labor from conquered worlds. How they murdered anyone who threatened their profits. How they treated women like property to be bought and sold. Her testimony had caused a diplomatic crisis between the Federation and the Zephyrian government. But it had also given Federation forces the legal justification to stop guild ships carrying slaves. I still cannot believe I am free, Zara said quietly. On my world, women cannot even choose their own clothing without permission. This is your world now, Marcus replied. If you want it to be. Over the past weeks, Zara had become part of his crew in all but name. She helped navigate dangerous routes using her knowledge of guild territory. She assisted Dr. Tanaka in the medical bay, learning human medicine. She worked with Rodriguez to improve the ship's weapon systems. But most importantly, she had found something she had never known before, a family that accepted her as she was. The Federation offered me a new identity and protection on New Geneva Colony, she said. A safe life with a good job. That sounds perfect for you, Marcus said, though his voice seemed sad. I told them no. Marcus looked surprised. Why? Zara smiled. The first truly happy expression he had seen from her. Because I want to stay with you and your crew. You have shown me what humans call family. I do not want to lose that. Before Marcus could respond, alarms began sounding throughout the station. Emergency lights flashed red. Over the intercom, a voice announced. Security alert. Armed intruders in Section 7. All personnel evacuate immediately. Marcus grabbed his communicator. Rodriguez. What is your status? Captain, we have big problems, came the reply. Corvan assassins just blasted their way into the station. They are heading for the asylum offices. Note. How many? At least 20. Professional killers. They want the girl. Marcus looked at Zara with determination. Stay close to me. We are getting you to safety. They ran through the station corridors as security forces battled the invaders. Krell had made one final desperate attempt to reclaim his property. If he could not have Zara as his wife, he would make sure no one else could have her either. But as they reached the main plaza, they found something unexpected. Dozens of human traders, spacers, and Federation personnel had formed a protective circle around the asylum office. These were not soldiers. They were ordinary people who had heard Zara's story and decided to help. She is under human protection now, shouted Captain Williams, an old cargo hauler. Any of you aliens want her, you go through us first. The Corvan assassins found themselves facing an angry crowd of humans. Not trained fighters, but determined people who would not let injustice happen in front of them. The battle was brief but fierce. Federation security forces arrived quickly to help. When the shooting stopped, all the assassins were either dead or captured. Several humans had been wounded, but they had won. Marcus found Zara kneeling beside one of the injured defenders, a young trader who had taken a blast meant for her. Why did you risk your life for me? She asked the wounded man. Because it was right, he replied, echoing Marcus's words from weeks before. Later, as medical teams treated the wounded, Marcus stood with Zara in the station's command center. Admiral Morrison, the Federation fleet commander, was questioning the captured assassins. Krell will face justice, the Admiral promised. His crimes against your people and others can no longer be ignored. But Zara was not thinking about revenge. She was thinking about the humans who had risked their lives for a stranger, about the crew of the Iron Resolve, who had become her family, about the future that stretched ahead of her. Marcus, she said, I want to formally request to join your crew. As navigator and cultural advisor. Marcus smiled. Position is yours if you want it. I do. But I have one condition. What? We help other Zephyrian women who want to escape. Marcus nodded. I like that idea. 6 months later, the Iron Resolve flew patrol routes along the Federation border. They carried normal cargo, but they also carried something more precious. Hope. Word had spread through Zephyrian space about the woman who had refused marriage and found freedom among the humans. Other women began seeking passage on human ships. Some escaped in small groups. Others came alone with nothing but determination. Zara had become their guide and protector. She helped them navigate the complex asylum process. She taught them about human customs and laws. Most importantly, she showed them that freedom was possible. Standing on the bridge of the Iron Resolve as it jumped to hyperspace, Zara watched the stars stretch into lines of light. Somewhere behind them was the world of her birth, a place where she could never return. Somewhere ahead lay new worlds and new adventures. Ready for the next mission? Marcus asked. Zara's skin patterns flickered with excitement and determination. Always ready, Captain. The Iron Resolve disappeared into the cosmic distance, carrying its crew toward whatever challenges awaited. But they faced those challenges together, as family, as friends, and as defenders of those who could not defend themselves. In the depths of space, freedom had found new champions, and freedom, once tasted, was impossible to destroy.